Good evening, everyone. This is Yogi here. I hope you're well. So, good morning, good afternoon, and it's good evening here in London. It's 20 to 9, 8:40 p.m. Okay, so I hope you had a great day or having a great day wherever you are. So today I'm coming back to this piece. I'm on this third page of this piece called Granny's Craft Room, and I'm really looking forward to finish 4 pages of this project so I can get on to my back stitches of this piece. So if this is the first time you come across this piece, let me show you the full markup here. It's absolutely beautiful and whimsical. So what I did was I started from the center where the little kitten is, and let me show you my tracking app as well, so you know, just give you a summary of my progress here. It's absolutely whimsical. I love it so much. So I'm using markup IXP to track my progress. So let me flip this on. So I've completed the page on the left and right, and I'm just moving down to the page on the left here. So I can quickly check my progress on the current page here. Let me just jump to the page I'm working on. So the app allows me to work on page by page, which is quite nice. And let me just quickly have a look of my progress on this particular page. So on the current page, let me have a look. Yes, current page, I'm on 22%. Okay, so a little bit to go. But overall, I think I'm on 8.48% to be precise. So it's not a massive project, but it's not by no means small at all. Let me just bring it back so I can give you some idea of the size of the project. So I'm working on the third page, and let me zoom out a little bit more. So this is the totality of the entire piece. Yeah, a little bit more to go, but I'm really enjoying this project. It's like stitching dreams. So this is so the bottom left page is what I'll be working on today. So the method of choice for this page is what I call Gemma Stitches method, which is, if you're not familiar with Gemma Stitches, she's on YouTube, definitely go to visit her. I'm going to just ease away from the edges here, as you can see, and there's no floating stitches at all, no floating stitches. So this is what makes this method really unique. So generally in a diagonal direction, no floating stitches, and I can choose to work on any area on the diagonal line, and generally just keeping that diagonal shape going. But you know, it doesn't have to be super precise, which is what I love about this method. So let me zoom in a little bit more. And those of you who are not aware of it, I'm streaming on 4K. So you can get really beautiful visual here, a lot of details. And if you're on desktop, you can go to bottom right of your browser. If it's not already on 4K, you can manually turn it on. If you're on mobile devices, I believe it's on the upper right. There's a little icon there. You tap on it as long as your Wi-Fi speed allows, you get a 4K view. Okay. So I'm going to start working on this. And so each day for the last few days, I basically, you know, before I come on the stream, I just go around my ongoing projects, my whip, and then decide which piece I'm going to be working on. And lo and behold, there's always one piece that's screaming at me, saying, stitch me, stitch me. So I'm following the voices and work on the pieces as I go. And this is 14 counts. You can see the stitches are nice and big. So I'm going to pick my first color here. So I think I'm going to work on the upper right here. And there are a lot of really beautiful purple shades going on there. And this is actually the edge of the page itself. So there will be sort of all the stitches will stop from this block. Beautiful. So the first color I'm going to be working on. Let's work in order. Let's be good about it. And it's going to be one of the combination blend threads. So this project comes with 3 different blend colors, so to speak, combination. So it's quite interesting, really interesting piece to stitch on. Plus, there's back stitches as well. So let me put my little cupcake over there. I hope you're well today. Again, this is another really warm day in London. It's quite unusual that we have so many, not just warm, but hot days. Today is probably about 27 Celsius, which is glorious. And in the summer, our daytime is nice and long. So even now, it's not broad daylight, but at 9 o'clock, it's just starting to get dark. So you have a lot of sort of daylight to work with during the day, which is so nice coming from a dark, cold winter. And that's it. So I'm going to do a hard stop. It's very tempting to keep stitching because there are a few stitches of the same color spreading to the next page. But I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to stop here and tuck in the thread. GMB, hey, oh, is it Gayla? Hello, Gayla. Happy to see you. So good to see you today. How are you doing? Are you stitching with me, or what are you doing right now? Tell me everything. And it's so nice to be able to sit down and stitch with you after a busy day. I'm really looking forward to it. It's really working well for me. Because with the streaming is, once you've got everything set up, it's so much easier. Because, you know, in the previous few streams, I was still kind of trying to find my way around, experimenting on the setup, etc., you know. And now everything just flowing, effortless. I'm going to pick up this beautiful purple. I think I've stitched that one. Okay, so I'm going to pick up this one instead. And this way of stitching is just nice and easy, no rushing. I'm not trying to race against time in any shape or form. Whatever number of stitches I get to complete today, I'm totally good. I know, I'm fine with it, happy with that. And then I'm going to park below or anywhere That is within maybe a block and a little bit. I wouldn't part too far. If it's too far, I'll just end the thread. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 from top. So you have to work with the thread here. 1, 2, 3, right here. So I'm in my warming up stitches. If you've been joining me, you know. Stitching is like yoga to me. You have a warm up phase, and then once you're warmed up, it's all good. I need to remember to mark it. Gayla says, right now, I'm just watching you because you're so fascinating. Oh, that's so kind. Fascinating as in interesting, not weird. I know what you mean. Thank you so much. It's always nice to have you back. And I'm going to highlight the stitch I'm going to be working on, which is this purpley color, 553. So this morning I had 3 classes that I teach, yoga classes I teach back to back. And then I came back home and managed to catch Shino's live stream. She's a lady, lovely lady, Floss tuber from Japan. So I went in to say hello because she's been coming to my stream a couple of times and, you know, being so supportive. And even though it's kind of different time zone, I was so happy to be able to make it to her stream. And her followers are so supportive as well, so friendly. And Stitches are just wonderful people. Let me see, just to make sure everything's marked properly. So this pattern was originally paper patterns. It's a cross-stitching kit I got from Amazon. And so the floss comes with it, and came with the kits as well. And they're quite nice to stitch. They're DMC compatible colors, but the texture is slightly different, and I absolutely don't mind it. Let me just see that one. Okay, there's one more here that I missed, so I'm going to pick up. And because I imported the chart from paper charts, so even though the app has been quite good with converting, there's some symbols just, you know, it doesn't pick up. So I have to manually kind of highlight them to include them, so I stitch correctly. So this is one of the things I have to do, but I'm still very happy with it because otherwise I'll have to work with paper chart, which I don't like to do. And I always have this I wouldn't say irrational fear. I think it's pretty rational that you're going to lose the papers. You might spill coffee on them. So if I get anything that's in paper form, I always make sure that I scan them first, so I get a backup just in case. 335 here. So Gayla says, I love learning all the different ways of how you stitch. It's very educational. Thank you so much. I'm learning all the time from other floss tubers as well. I'm just one of those people, if I discover a new way of stitching, I just hop on it. I just want to try it. And it gets me really excited. And it keeps everything fresh because, you know, even though I admire stitchers, they stick with a method they love and they're always using the same method. But for me, you learn different techniques through different ways of stitching. So yesterday I did mini cross country, and today Gemma's method. It's official. That's what I'm going to call it. Right, park it down here. And recently I saw I believe it was maybe a Japanese lady. And because I don't know the language, so I didn't know what was going on. But she was stitching kind of in a checkerboard pattern. So she would do color complete of one block, and then she would move on to the diagonal blocks and stitch those. And I have no idea why she did that. I'd love to be able to find out. It's fascinating. I'm tempted to try it, but because I can't really figure out the benefit or reasoning for that, other than it might be fun to do. So I haven't really gone as far as trying it, but anything to keep everything fresh and interesting, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And when I first discovered this sort of full coverage, I was scouring around YouTube to find videos, just trying to get my head around how particularly parking how it worked, and also how do I handle full coverage. If you've never done full coverage before, it just seemed impossible. Because prior to that, I was doing semi full coverage kind of dimension goal type of projects, which involve quite a lot of stitches as well. But the projects tend to be quite small, so it wasn't that overwhelming. I think that one is done. Let me just make sure. 6. 1, 2, 3. I'm going here. So, you know, all these videos really help me. And if through the way I stitch, you get to learn something as well, what made me so happy. Beautiful. And I think these are the 2 last pink stitches in this area, so I'm going to end it. Now see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. And I forgot to bring on a little markup for you as well, so you can kind of roughly know where I am. So I'm at the wooden drawer area, just below the kitten there, from the center. So the reason I'm stitching from the center was because I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to stitch the little cat. And also the outer, if you look around upper left there, is sky and trees. It could have you know, it could take years before I get to the cats. And I just thought, well, never mind. Let me just start right from the center. So that's what I did. And it's worked out well because Markup RXP allows me to work page by page. If I was using something like Pattern Keeper, Pattern Keepers, you can see the definition of pages, but you can't really work on one page at a time. You can manually do so, but you don't get the stats. You know, you don't get the how many stitches you completed per page as such. 3609, let me dock my needle back. 3609. Okay, normally I just, if I've got leftover thread on the needle, I just dock it back and leave it there till next time. So it kind of speeds up things a little bit, even though I'm not really looking for speed per se, more efficiency really. Let me see, let me find out about these ones here. So there's one single stitch there that I need to figure out what color it is. So I suppose if I have to critique Markup RXP, is even though these symbols are assigned, all the symbols are assigned to a color, but when you move on to the next page, you have to refresh those colors as well. I never quite understand why that is. Maybe just the limitation of the app itself. It doesn't just pick up all the colors necessary. So let me find that symbol on my chart here. It's just one stitch really. I believe it's a star sign, star symbol. It's a mystery. So in that case, I'm going to, I'm pretty sure it's on. Ah, okay, I got it. I got it. I think it may be this one down here, but it's slightly distorted because it's a scan paper chart. It's just the way it is. I think maybe this color here. Let me just stitch over there. And yesterday, the kit from yesterday, which is a piece called Stationery Store, it's from the same company as this. So the same fabric count. It's a beautiful piece. So I've got about 4 of these, very kind of, well, different design, but same fabric count and the floss as well, from the same company. Right, that one is done. And now so this is another example of the tricky thing about this pattern is because it's overlaid with back stitches, symbols as well. But so sometimes the lines kind of obscure. Ah, got it. 966. Found you. It's obscured by the symbols for back stitches. So the app has trouble picking the symbols up because it changes the shape. 966. It's a beautiful color. There. Beautiful green. And people tend to think you need to go up in fabric count to get more details. It may be true in some cases, but ultimately it's how well it's charted, the design is charted. If it is charted well, all the colors blend beautifully, then 14 counts, you know, you can get beautiful results. Like this piece. And also, I can't wait to add in the back stitches. You're just going to add even more details and make everything pop. And that motivates me to work on this piece even more. So it's just one stitch here in this area for this color, 966. Pop it back. And then I'm going to pick up this one. Dark burgundy color. Let me just I'm loading down just a tiny bit. So and it's so funny. Yesterday I was talking about how I love the sound of the fabric and the thread going through the fabric when I stitch. And then I got a lovely comment from Karen from Needlebug, and she explained to me what happens when a thread goes through the fabric. And basically what she said was, when you put the thread through the fabric, it creates friction, and the sound is coming from the friction of the thread running through the fabric. And depends on how long your thread is, essentially you're wearing the thread off. And I was like, oh. So the sound I'm enjoying is the sound of the thread suffering, basically. So it gave me a new perspective of what's happening with my thread. But I still love it. I don't care. I'm sorry. My threads just have to suffer for me. Just the way it is. But I think that's why it's always a good idea not to have really long thread. I know it's very tempting, so you don't have to swap a new thread too frequently, but it's generally a good idea not to have super long threads, because you just create more friction for each piece. That makes sense. 814. See, I have so much to learn. 814. So generally, I keep my thread about the length from my fingertips when I hold my thread like this up to my elbow, roughly. Obviously, it depends on how long your arm is. If you have, if you have super long arms, and obviously if I'm stitching with two strands, meaning I just double that length. So it's very easy. I just hold the thread like this and run it toward my elbow, and that's generally the length I'm going for, and it's been working well. And this particular pattern, as far as I know, as a cross-stitching kit, currently is not available, unfortunately. But yesterday, when I was stitching the other piece from the same company, Shino, the floss tuber from Japan, she mentioned that she's got the pattern. So I asked, where did you get the pattern from? And apparently, you might be able to get a copy from Etsy, but maybe under different name. So it makes it slightly tricky. And I wouldn't be surprised if you can find this particular pattern as well. So if you're interested, maybe worth looking around, search on the same title to see what comes up. Maybe do a Google search as well, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I think I'm going to park it somewhere down here. I've got another part thread of the same color running to all the right, so maybe I should end it so I don't end up with too many part thread unnecessarily. So with Emma's method, it's not unusual to have the same color part multiple locations. So it really depends on where the color flows, and that's why it's so interesting, because you have to make a sort of judgment call on where to park the thread and when to introduce a new thread of the same color. And if the same color, let's say this burgundy, flowing toward two different directions, you might part one thread to the right and part the other thread to the left. So it's a decision you have to make, and it's fun. It's like a little game you play in order to keep your stitches, you know, neat and tidy and efficient in process as well. Right, I've got another one that is another symbol that's not being picked up, so I need to manually find it. And this one's fairly easy. Found it immediately. So 3A63. That's the one. I've got one parts right here. So 2 of the classes I taught today, they were back to back. Each of them with 45 minutes. For some reasons, the studios and gyms now, instead of 1 hour, they start offering a lot of 45-minute classes. And a lot of yogis are actually not very happy with that, because traditionally, at least, like ever, most of the times the classes were at least 1 hour, some longer. But there's a kind of trend, I don't know if it's good or bad, that they start doing 45 minutes, but they're able to cramp in, that's a terrible word, to squeeze in more classes a day, if that makes sense. And so I teach 2 classes back to back from 10 to 10:45, and then 11:45 to not 11:45, 11 to 11:45. And there was this lovely lady. She's been coming to my classes for quite a while. The first time she came to my classes, and she came to me, and because normally when you start the class, you make sure that everybody's in good condition to join the class, whether there's medical conditions, injuries. 3A63, let me just pop it back. So you check with everybody, making sure that no one has got some sort of injuries, they shouldn't be in the class, or pregnancy, etc. And she came to me, this lovely lady. She came to me. I think she's probably in her 20s, and she says, I've got a pacemaker with me, and she showed me the wire, and there's a device kind of coming out. I don't know how it normally works, and I can literally see the cable sticking out of her body, and I got really nervous. I said, well, are you sure that you can do the class, and please take it easy, have you got the okay from the doctor, etc., because I'm not super informed in terms of if you need pacemaker, what type of exercise you could do. And she explained to me that she had open heart surgeries, sort of, quite young, and she's been living with the condition for a long time. So I said, well, I'll keep an eye on her. I don't want to go, well, you shouldn't be coming to the class. She seems, she said she's done classes before, no problem. So I had to take her words and just keep an eye on her. And she did really well. She had to sort of modify quite a lot of poses. I generally give them modifications because, you could have very experienced yogis in the class, or someone who's new, first time doing yoga in the same class. So you want to give them options, and they can choose themselves which one works for them that particular day. And this lady was just, she worked so hard, and she did classes with no problem, and she always come to thank me afterwards. It's so rewarding when students come to you, and because they have no obligation to do that, they can just leave. I wouldn't be offended whatsoever. But this lady always makes sure she comes to me and thank me. And today, after finishing, she would do back-to-back 2 classes, would you believe, with a pacemaker. And today, when we finished the second class, after our final rest, Shavasana, and she sat there, she sat up, and she looked to me and go, the second class just kind of just disappeared. She didn't feel the time, she felt like it just, it happened in no time, basically. And from time to time, I get students come to me and say that, and they go, I thought we just started a class, and lo and behold, it's finished. So I looked to her, I said to her, do you know what this means? And she looked to me, she thought I was going to say something horrible, like it was all wrong. I told her, it means you're in the flow. You're in the flow. And she smiled. She smiled. She looks so happy because it basically means you're fully present. You're there and you're letting go of any outcome, because sometimes, particularly where we're in a class of any kind, we start to judge ourselves before anybody judges us. You know, we go, oh, that person next to me is more flexible. Her legs could go, you know, up there, or he, you know, they're male students as well. And so the practice, I always say, more than the physical practice, is to allow, to free yourself from self-judgment. And when you do that, you're just flowing with the motion and allow the body to do whatever it's there to do. You know, you're not trying to force it, and you're definitely not, you know, don't judge yourself. And that's when you become blissful and peaceful, and time disappears. And it happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's part of the practice to move toward that direction. You know, you shouldn't expect that to happen. Again, then you go into the expectation mode. But it's about allowing yourself to be in the place for that to happen. And I was so happy that it happened for her. Because sometimes students kind of look a little bit puzzled, and they go, well, why does it feel so fast today? You know, 2 classes just disappeared. And I always tell them that because you're in the flow. 647. And you don't need to practice yoga to be in the flow. You can be in the flow stitching. 647. And the state of mind is when you're fully present and you're single-minded onto one thing. That makes you happy. You'll be amazed at the sort of mixture in terms of, you know, physical ability, ages, of the students that come to my classes. You know, I've seen 19-year-old, really young people, who can barely use their body to do anything. No criticism, you know, flexibility needs practice. It has nothing to do with age. But, you know, I think the more of the story is more of what you do with your body rather than what age you are. And I've got students that I thought they were in their 40s, turned out they're 2 decades older in terms of age, but their bodies are so strong. So it's so encouraging. 647. And a drink of choice today is a black coffee. So I actually brew the coffee actually more than an hour ago, but I've been kind of just slowly sipping it. And so I still have some left. And I love cold coffee, actually. There's something about cold coffee. It's so tasty. Not iced coffee, but cold coffee. A38. One here. I know the sound is basically my thread dying, but I love the sound. Let me tuck it under here, just one stitch. This color. A3A. I'm starting to ease this space a little bit to make it more, a little bit more diagonal. And swap a needle here. Oops. I'm going to park it under. Yeah. So normally if I scan through all the part threads, there will be kind of one area that kind of sticks out, and that would be the stitch I generally go for. The thread, the patterns kind of communicates with you, so you know where to stitch next. Here we go. Hang on a moment. I think I may have stitched the wrong color there. The color is correct. I just parked in the wrong area. I picked the wrong color. Even at 9 o'clock, over 9 o'clock, is still really warm. It should be here. Then Missed this one over here. Second from the left. Good. And going to tackle. Over here. Hmm. 1, 2, 4, 9, 8. Yeah, a little bit messy here now. Snags a little bit. This is why you need to tidy up your thread organizers from time to time, just to smooth everything out. Otherwise it's not, they could start to snag a little bit. It's a housekeeping thing. Right, so we have this here, and then I'm going to start from the stitch. But these stitches are just so satisfying to make. And then part one down here. It's 3 over here. Just double checking the color. A14. Just checking. Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of burgundy and purpley colors on the app. I know it shouldn't be, it's not supposed to be complete match, but sometimes they look different, quite different from the color preview on the app. Just need to double check sometimes. Two. And this method, once you get it going, it'll probably take you some time to get your head around if you never stitched like this before. But once you get your head going, it's not that slow, even though it might be slower than cross country, but you end up with really, really neat stitches. And also it's fun to do while you're doing it. And that's important for me. They're kind of different kind of challenges. You can't just go everywhere whenever you want. And that's fascinating, so fascinating about us as human beings is that when we're given complete freedom, sometimes we get lost. So even though some people enjoy, extreme cross country, and it's probably quite fun to do it from time to time. But most of the times we want some rules. And I think that's precisely, why we have so many different stitching methods. Because we want structure and rules. So sometimes it's deceiving to interpret freedom as just anything goes. We might lose our way. One, two here. Let me just make sure. Okay. So quite a few stitches of this color, which is nice. Right. We mark it. The two more stitches down here. I think slightly out of order, sticking out, but I'm gonna do them anyway. They're not floating, so I'm good with that. Whoops. And then I'm going to come down here and park it here. And I need to double check what this color is. Maybe duplicate of 498. 498. I think both of them are the same color. So there you go. So what I could do is to take this one to a different direction rather than just cutting it off, which I could, but I'm gonna just park it somewhere that's in different direction. Just park it down here. And use this one to continue. One, two. I'm gonna stitch this one. And then part below. And let's just start to work on this area to smooth it out. Like that. Two stitches here. You always know when the warm up phase is over because things just start to flow. And I shouldn't say that because as soon as you say something like that, you make mistakes. Let me see. One down, one below. Good. There's beautiful yellow here. 1, 2. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. This one, I'm gonna re-establish the corner there. I think, okay, going to park it down here. So this color's final stitch of this color in this area. So I'm going to end it after this. Pop it back. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Oh, so good. I think in the beginning when I started to learn this method, and I think Gemma actually sometimes leave the, oh, let me see what's happening here. Why is it like this? Okay, I part this one in the wrong location, so let me fix that first. This thread should be part in the stitch next to it. There. So I don't know if Gemma still does that, but from time to time she will leave the thread on the needles. I think she calls them hot needles or something like that. And she will leave a few of them if she's working on kind of a group of colors kind of repeating themselves. So instead of unthreading the needles, she would just leave them there and then place them on a needle miters underneath. And I tried that. Man, that was hard. It sounds like a good idea. And I think if you, well, she knows what she's doing, so it must be working for her. What happened to me is my habit is as soon as I finish a color, I just unthread it. So it has become a habit, kind of autopilot. So I just keep forgetting I've got needles threaded part below. And also they tangle with each other. And I tried a few times, it just kind of didn't flow. So I basically gave up on the idea and just unthread the needle each time. And it's fine. I don't mind threading. It's kind of quite relaxing to do. And cross-stitching needles got a really large hole anyway, so it's not too bad at all. You just have to try it before you know whether it works for you or not. Jacqueline, hello. Jacqueline says, hi, I'm working on my chickadees in birch tree today. Oh, is that heaven and earth? You know what? When people tell me what they're working on, I just have this urge to Google it because I'm just dying to know. Let me have a quick Google. If I can find it, I'll show it to everybody. So it's called chickadees. What an interesting name. Chickadees must be easy to find then. Oh, it's a kind of bird, is it? I'm not very, I'm a city girl. I only know about 5 different birds. We have a lot of crows in London. Let me have a look. And I'll show it to you and you can let me know whether that's correct. Oh, I think I may have found it. But there are different versions. Let me have a look. I found the Etsy one. Is it this one, Jacqueline? It's beautiful. It's autumn. You can see the dry leaves. So these birds are called chickadees, are they? I'm learning something every day. You wouldn't believe the first time I see real cows in the countryside and sheep. I screamed. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. And this color scheme probably needs some patience because generally it's got a very similar tone, you know, a lot of grays and light browns. So, yeah, that's really pretty. And what fabric count are you working on? It looks like a full coverage piece to me. Probably almost. Here we go. I think pieces like this, they're so elegant when they're finished, really sophisticated when you have really subtle color changes. But then it also means you have to kind of work on very similar color palettes throughout. And that's when I run into trouble. You know, even within the same area, I like the freedom to kind of move to a completely different color palette. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Here. Yep. Let's see. I'm going to work on this stitch right there. Move it to the left a little bit more. I think I already have one threaded there. So that's correct. Thank you, Jacqueline, for the confirmation. I think at some point I will start to explore sort of patterns outside, maybe heaven and earth. I do have one project from Gecko Rouge, and I've got these ones here from the cross stitching kit. I noticed a lot of really beautiful patterns from different companies. But sometimes I'm a little bit scared to look at them. I'm just thinking I've got so much going on as it is. Oh, it's confetti hell. Wow. Or confetti heaven, Jacqueline. Depends on how you look at it. You know, when I stitch areas, there's a lot of similar colors or a block of the same color. I crave for a little bit of confetti, I'll be honest with you. So there's something about, because normally when there's confetti, that means there's a lot of details in that area. And you know good things are going to come out of it most of the time anyway, from confetti. But obviously it's moderation. In moderation. Too much of everything or anything is probably not going to be good. So 25 counts, easy grid. Good. That sounds lovely. That sounds really lovely. I can imagine, you know, there's probably a lot of color gradation there to create the subtlety of the piece like that. Over here. And what's your progress so far? Have you just started it, or have you done it for a while? Work on this one here. Just zoom out slightly. Yes, you see, it's starting to ease that line there. It's just a lovely way of stitching. These three. And I think I'm going to park it right here. So this side is the end of the page on the right side there. So you start to create a straight line there. And I think I'm going to stitch this one. And part below. So the quote-unquote pure Gemma's method, you wouldn't have sort of stitches sticking out like this, but I'm kind of allowing myself to have that. So it kind of saves one color change, actually. Thread, yeah, I think that's what it is. And it doesn't really get in the way. So I have no problem with that. The first time I saw Gemma Stitches stitching like this, I was thinking, why do you want to do this to yourself? You know, just take the thread wherever you want. Wouldn't that be faster? And I was quite wrong. And I'm so glad I tried it because there's something about this method. It just makes stitching very, very interesting. It's good fun. So it's not about speed. I mean, she can stitch pretty fast. She gets to finish like a piece, large piece every couple of years or so. And I don't know whether she does other methods, but as far as her channel goes, she pretty much consistently stitched this way. I mean, recently she kind of evolved a little bit and into something. It's called color flow. It's still fundamentally very similar in principle, but she allows herself to flow out of the diagonal shape if there's color kind of flow toward a certain direction. So you don't kind of try to fight it and force it into a diagonal shape, which makes a lot of sense. Some patterns probably just wouldn't work very well if you just try to force it into a diagonal shape. But with this one, it seems to be okay at this point. If the pattern calls for it, I might go for a spot of a color flow as well. Why not? 3607. 66%, Jacqueline. What? How big is the piece? Are we talking about heaven and earth, regular size? 3607. 3607. Anything over 40% is just remarkable, I think. Wow, 66. So you cross that 50% mark. That's amazing. And I'm going to go for this one. I think the piece I've gone the furthest in terms of percentage. Obviously, you know, it's proportional to the size of the piece, but it's my little cake shop. I'm actually on 13%. So it's a heaven and earth regular size there, but max color. So I'm pretty proud of the progress. I've been working on that piece on and off for maybe over 2 years. But considering how many pieces I've got ongoing, it's not bad at all. 13 is not bad. And we pop it down. Not doing too badly at all. And I'm going to have one stitch sticking out as long as it doesn't get in the way of other stitches. And with this one, the final 2 stitches of this area. One more stitch here. I'm going to end the thread. So Gemma normally does a pin stitch. I prefer tucking it under the neighboring stitch. So 552. This is so much fun. 552. Let me just part this thread here. And this one. Hope I can manage about 7 stitches with this piece of thread. Let's see how far we can go with this little piece at the end. One more, please. So childish. Just tiny bit, yes. It should be okay. Ooh. Right, let me tuck it just under the stitch right next to it. So I've got enough. Literally just tiny bit left, but I managed. It's extreme sport. It's extreme stitching. Yes. There you go. And right, it's a new color I want to introduce. 152. Lovely salmon color there. I'm going to bring it slightly over here. I feel so much joy when I stitch. It shouldn't be allowed. And, oops. I'm going to just park it below here. This one's getting quite short as well. So I have to decide what to do with it. There's a line of these white stitches running down. A few more stitches. So I might break the rule and keep stitching down until the thread runs out, rather than trying to pick it up every time I run into it. So look away, Gemma. I'm sorry. I'm butchering your method here. Take a deep breath. One, two, three, four. Four down. Okay. Might be able to manage it. It's really just a single line running downwards. And I just want to be able to end the thread here. And maybe manage one more. It's running really short like this. Extreme stitching. Right. Made it. I'm going to tuck it under just this stitch onto itself. So when there's no other stitches around, I just tuck it under the last stitch. I prefer to tuck it away from the final stitch, just so it gets to get sort of stitched down, just in case it becomes loose. But it should be fine. Right, let me do this one. So grateful to have stitching apps to work on pieces like this. Otherwise it would be quite impossible. Well, it's maybe not impossible, but it would probably have made it harder, much harder to do. I mean, prior to discovering Pattern Keeper, I used to use Good Reader. Those on Apple devices might know. It's kind of PDF reader, and so I normally just scan the paper patterns in and just use the in-app highlighter just to mark the stitches, as if you probably do if you're using a paper pattern. And that kind of worked for a while, before I realized there was an app out there that does this type of things. 3853. I've got one threaded already. One stitch here, and then we tuck it under. Under here. One stitch wonder. 3853. Tuck it back. Look. I've already done close to 100 stitches. Not bad at all. Change needle. And bring below. Yeah. One stitch here. And then park. A3250. Is that the number of stitches, Jacqueline? Or is it a secret code to happiness? The secret of the universe is a number. And no one knows the number. Let me do one more here. And then park it next to the stitch. Three, 8, 2, 2. So I'm generally fascinated with you know, where, how the universe started, that kind of stuff. You know, I'm a bit of a nerd, and I like kind of documentaries or videos like that on YouTube. But there's one thing I just can't get my head around is there's a lot of maths involved with sort of equations and stuff like that. I don't quite get it. Why is it always reduced to a calculation? I'm just not smart enough to understand it. Does that mean everything is computed with a formulated number? Or I don't even know how to verbalize it. But those experts always talk as if it's normal to think that way. Why would the physical world that we see and feel ultimately end up with an equation, some sort of formula? I just don't understand it. Maybe that's why I'm not a physicist or some sort of scientist. There's a very good reason for that. Right, I'm going to move over here to smooth out this area. It makes a bit more sense to me than the origin of the universe. Cross stitch, I can handle. Mass, no. I'm going to park it below. Just one stitch here, and I'm going to end. Oh, actually, there's another one diagonally to the right. I might park it there. So it's slightly far away, but it's doable. It's just one stitch down here as well. It's one of those colors. Just one stitch here, one stitch there. Hi, Laura. Oh, Laura says, I love those documentaries. So I watch Carl Sagan's, I get it, Carl Sagan's Cosmos series in PBS as a teenager, and I was mesmerized. I know. I love that kind of stuff as well. Even if I don't understand it, I just love to kind of get to know how different type of theories and how they come about thinking that way. I know, I love it. And there was this guy on a podcast. His name is, trying to recall correctly, Nick Bostrom. I haven't found any recent podcast from him, but he was the person that came up with simulation theory. I think that's what it's called, simulations theory of the universe. And it was fascinating because, so basically what he's proposing is, nowadays we have sort of artificial intelligence, and we're starting to simulate AI life forms, even though currently it's kind of in digital form. But if you are aware of the ability Chat GPT is able to do at the moment, even the free version, if you get a pro version, it does crazy things. You can't tell the difference from reality. But it's the fact that we are at the stage that we can start to simulate living forms. May not be in this form that we are. We live in a very physical world, or what we perceive as physical. And what he's proposing is the fact that maybe we are already in simulation already, meaning that we are simulated. We just don't know. So the entities in the simulation, in theory, should not be aware that they are not real, whatever real is. And what he's proposing is the concept, because then you go, well, how do you even know that it's true or not? He could be talking, maybe it's just a mind experiment. How can you ever prove it one way or the other? And it also is, currently, we can't prove it one way or the other. It's a bit like sort of ghostly phenomena. Either you believe it or you don't, right? You can't really prove it one way or the other. There isn't a method to do that yet. But what Nick Bostrom is proposing is the probability of that occurring. So I'm sure I'm butchering it, but the idea is the fact that we know for a fact we are moving into the stage of our science that we can simulate some sort of life form that may have some sort of intelligence on its own. So how do we know that we are already there? So he's talking about probability. He cannot prove it one way or the other. But as much as you cannot prove that we're not in simulation, on the same token, we cannot prove that we're not. So ultimately at this stage, you could say it's a mind experiment, and you can say you can choose to believe one way or the other. But he's saying the probability of the fact that we are in simulation is greater because we can already see the possibility. So who is to say in 100 years' time or 200 years that we cannot do exactly what we think we may have already been, which is we're simulated entities. And I think the more you get into it, the more your head starts to spin around, and you probably have a panic attack if you're if you're not mindful with this kind of thinking. But I'm fascinated by it because it's one of the sort of places you can go to take you out of, how can I put it? Because we're so bogged down by day-to-day things, you know, paying bills, doing, you know, cleaning the house, or whatever things we just do and think we have to do, and this is just the way it is. But if you start to think that all of these things were creations of something, you know, it's a bit like, you know, in computer games, you have the player and you have the avatar, you know, just like the movie Avatar. I haven't seen the second one, but if I recall correctly, of the first one, basically going to some sort of chamber, going to a sleep state, and then you enter a world where you're taking form of something else, a different living form in that realm. And how do we know that we are not there already? So the difference with Avatar is 1 versus 1. You know, you go in as someone else in another world. But who is to say that we're not the creation of a, similar to computer games? You know, there's a player there. The controls are thinking, or maybe multiple entities in this world, you know, controlled by a player, like a simulation game, like The Sims, if you're familiar with video games. How do we disprove that? I don't know. So I'm fascinated by the simulation theory. Oh my God, my phone just spoke to me when I say theory is things that I say Siri. Oh my God, Apple phone's just scary. Very scary, Apple. Stop it. And I think the upside of entertaining theories like that is that, first of all, it's interesting if you're a nerd, but also it takes you out of that mundane thinking of believing that everything is just the way it is. There's no way out. We're stuck here, this way of living, and with certain limitations that we give to ourselves. When, if this world was simulated, meaning that anything is possible, anything is possible. And perhaps we even have the ability to make certain things happen that's beyond our belief that, you know, what we're capable of or not. I'm not talking about superpower, you know, like Spider-Man type of ability. I'm talking about, you know, making things happen. Things we want to achieve, things we hope for the world, perhaps. And I don't know whether any of you recall in the beginning of the year, there were a lot of like UFO type things sort of flying around America, right? And then suddenly everything disappeared. No one is talking about it. It was on the news every single day for like 2 weeks. And then suddenly no one is taking any interest. There's no follow-up. Nothing. Stuff like that fascinates me. One stitch down here. And the thing is, people debate whether there are aliens outside, outer space or not. To be honest, if you buy into the simulation theory, and all of this doesn't matter because everything is the product of simulation. Whether it's alien or not alien or I don't know, whatever it is. So there's so many layers of the rabbit hole you can jump in. Party below here. Oh, I absolutely love this way of stitching. I just love it. So I'm going to go over to this stitch here. So 402. Oops. Two down. Only one stitch left for this color. I'm going to just end it afterwards. Move it outside here. Normally I would tuck it under similar colors, but I couldn't find any location for it. Should be fine. 152. I might leave this piece out. One stitch down here. And pop down. The stitches are so neat and tidy this way. It's just so beautiful. It's like these really pretty beads with each stitch. And I'm going to one, okay. I think so. So I'm generally quite a nerd when it comes to documentaries. But there are a couple of subjects I kind of don't really have interest. That would be politics. No interest at all. Or religion, I think. Kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. Just count this correctly. 2, 3, 4. 5. Let me bring it down here. So the few subjects just have no interest whatsoever. But otherwise, I'm curious. I'm curious about things. I'm always open to kind of find out some worlds that I'm not familiar with. Oh, Shanna says, hello, Shanna, darling. Do you have a video explaining your thread organizer? Yeah, there's a clip under my video section that I extracted from a stream I did. And I think Karen from Needlebug asked me about my organizer. So I actually did a quick demo. So there's a clip there under the videos section that I quickly went into, you know, how I came about that my thread organizer is looking the way it does. So the answer is yes, it's there. And I think maybe at some point, because the thread card I have right now, let me just quickly show you. It's quite a normal looking thread card, so to speak, other than the fact that there's a piece of felt on top. So the video kind of, went through how I got here. But I do have a PDF of this template that I created when I first started doing this way. Maybe at some point I will do a video or just share the PDF with you. You can have it for free. I created it a couple of years ago when I started organizing my thread this way, and it's quite handy. You do need a printer, so that's the only thing. I don't know how many people still have a printer at home, but if you have a printer, it's quite easy. You just print out. I use cardboard to print out these templates, then so you don't have to draw. But otherwise, it's quite a simple looking thread card. You can probably do it without printing out the template. So I might do that at some point. Yes, Shanna, it's a organizer kind of evolved based on the practicality of the wear stitch. So it's working really well for me. I incorporated some of the ideas I found from this lady called Stitching Masterpieces in terms of protecting the threads that's dangling, below the thread organizer. So that part I definitely learned from her. But it's about organizing in a way that's intuitive to you. So, you can take those ideas and modify it to make it work for yourselves. So Shanna says, I have all my hate thread in a plastic box on bobbins, and I hate it. Oh, I don't like bobbins at all. I don't like my thread. I have to kind of unwrap my thread each time. It's not very efficient. And yeah, it's a lot of work. Yes, you should look up Stitching Masterpiece. And I love the way she thinks. She's a lateral thinker, and I like to think that I am as well. So anything works, I'll hack my way through. I rarely think about it on whether this is, Stitcher-like or whatever. If it works, I'm going to do it. I don't care. And this lady, she's really badass, let me tell you. I have seen videos of her trying to create thread storage using chopsticks. And it probably works for her as well. I just love it. That's kind of the way I think as well. If it works, who cares? 1, 2, 3, 4. And she has a really beautiful way of stitching as well. And I kind of discovered Cross Stitch Saga via her channel as well, because it's a Russian app developed by a team in Russia. And I think this is, it's the only app she uses, and she stitches. I don't think she parks. I've never seen her parking in any of her videos. She generally define an area using the app Cross Stitch Saga, and just do a color completion, or maybe not maybe mini cross country, because the area she stitches tends to be quite big. So I don't know, it's one way or the other. But yeah, she's very interesting to watch. Yes, look her up. There are a lot of original thinkers out there in the floss tube world. They're fascinating. Either the way they stitch, like Gemma, or someone like this lady. I don't know her name, unfortunately, because she mostly speaks Russian, I think. And oh, hang on. Have I stitched in the right place? Yes. 3829. I'm thinking about maybe arrange a stream that we can just all watch these fantastic floss tubers together, sort of different methods. I've got a few videos in mind that really fundamentally kind of change the way I stitch, introduce me to new ways of stitching or organizing my thread. Maybe we can all just find a stream to watch them together and be mesmerized. But yeah, bobbins are just not my thing. I think bobbins are fine if you're doing samplers type of thing. I used to have a box just full of those bobbins from cross-stitching kits. But at that time, I was dealing with very small number of threads, maybe we're talking 25, 30 type of thing. It's a completely different deal when you're doing full coverage. Max Colors has got 250 or 260 colors. You need something else, a different way of organizing. Shanna says they seem to flatten the threads over time. They might do. That's kind of not my primary concern. It's more of the kinks, when you wrap around the bobbins, it creates a shape, and also it's the hassle of wrapping, unwrapping. You take one piece out, and if you don't finish them, you have to wrap them back. Again, if you're dealing with, under 30 colors, it's probably workable. But beyond that, you're going to be very busy just dealing with your bobbins rather than stitching. Three, 5, 5. Okay. Three, 5. And with the way I organize my threads, I just group them by brands and create a book for each brand. So everything's grouped together. With hate, you know, if I swap projects, I don't need to swap my organizers at all. I used to have individual ones. Then one day I go, hang on a moment, that doesn't make sense. I'm using, you know, literally the same set or similar, you know, colors across different projects, and I need to allocate individual amount of thread to each project. It just seems a little bit redundant. So I just consolidate all of them into the same organizer, and that was life-changing. I was like, I don't have to deal with like 5, 6, 7 different sort of organizers. And also, if I were to start a new project, for instance, that use DMC, I've got majority of the colors already on my organizers, and all I have to do is just to pick out the ones I haven't got and add them onto the organizer. So, you know, you normally kitting up a project takes like days to do, but this way you're kind of already there. You just need to add the ones you haven't got already. It's efficient. Shana says, do you work from a master set? Yes, per brand of floss. So this one, for instance, let me just show you there. So I quickly mark them. So the set I'm using right now, I basically combine all the floss from the 4 kits I've got, the 4 cross-stitching kits I got from this company, and they all use the same floss as far as I know. So instead of having them sort of individually organized, I just combine them all together. And so across all these 14 count kits, I use the same book. And for Heaven and Earth projects, there's another book, and on top of that, there's a Gecko Rouge organizer as well. I only have one project from Gecko Rouge, but the thread is slightly different, so I don't want to mix them up with DMC, even though they, according to them, they are DMC floss. But I think the texture is a little bit different. Not better or worse, they're just a little bit different. So I like to keep them separate. And that's it. So I have, let me see, 3 sets, 3 organizers that covers everything I do. And I can just build from that. Shino, hello, Shino, how lovely to see you. What time is it over there? My goodness. Shino says, good evening. Thank you for coming to the YouTube live yesterday. Yesterday for you is the same day for me. I'm still on the same day. And everyone was happy. It was a pleasure to meet your followers, because I spotted a couple of them I'm already following. So it was like meeting my stitching heroes. And they're so sweet, and yeah, it's still on the same day for me, so it's shocking, isn't it? I think it was about maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock UK time. I popped over to Shino's. Shino's the floss tuber, by the way, if you don't know her, and so go and check out her channel. She does live stream from time to time, and yeah, it was really good fun. Let me bring this down here. Because then I just came back from my teaching yoga classes, so I had to take a shower, so I couldn't stay for too long. But it's a beautiful piece that she knows working on. I think it's called It's About Time or something like that from Hate. "7:06. Okay, 7:06 a.m. is relatively civilized. Because the other day I remember you said it was like 4 o'clock in the morning in Japan. 7, yeah, it's totally doable. Let me park it down here. Oh, in fact, I'm going to take it down here and do these ones. Let me move it up a little bit. Yes, Shanna, I mean, the organizers are going to keep you busy. And I love sorting out my floss as well. It's very much part of the stitching experience. I always feel that if my organizers are organized, my life is organized as well. You know, it's a reflection of my life, I like to think. I think Gemma from Gemma Stitches, she's using the way she organizes her floss is quite unique as well. I don't know whether she's still doing the same thing, presuming that she is. Then she generally just organize. She pops all the DMC colors in individual envelopes and stack them almost like a, little folder, stack them in a box somewhere, and then in order, obviously, in numerical order. And she knows which box to look for, and then just take them out of the envelopes, one piece at a time, and then pop the leftover back in an envelope. I mean, for me, that seems like a lot of work, but if it works for her, and also she doesn't work on that many different pieces, so I like to think maybe she's got less number of colors to deal with. I think the pieces she's stitching so far, as far as I know, they tend to be regular pieces, not max color or anything. So maybe then her way of doing, organizing it is efficient for her. So everyone is different. You overslept this morning. 7 o'clock is not oversleeping. What time do you normally get up, darling? 7 is like, yeah, early. The earliest time I will get up is normally 7. That's why I can't teach super early classes. Some teachers would teach 6:30 or 7 o'clock classes. I can't do that because I tend to stay late at night, as some of you might know. Either stitching or just doing other things. I'm a little bit of a night owl, so 7 for me is super early already. Let me just end this one. It's getting quite short now. Oh, I love it, Shanna. I live in organized chaos. I love that because that's so me. It's like I like things in order, but you might not agree. It's super organized or tidy, but I know where everything is. I'm in the school of Quentin Quisp type of living. But just to assure you, you know, it, chaos, well, organized chaos doesn't mean messy. I like to think I'm trying to justify it now. Oh, lovely coffee. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Just let me appreciate the stitches I made so far. It's taking shape. So I'm stitching the wooden drawer just below the kitten in the center there. So it's slowly taking shape. It's so lovely. I'm going to start to work on the upper right edge. Let's see where it takes me. Right. Exactly, Shannon. That's the key. As long as we know where everything is, it's in order, right? Even if it doesn't look it. Organized chaos. Exactly. And I'm going to stitch the one down as well. It's okay because this is the edge of the right edge of the page, so it doesn't get in the way. And I'm going to park 1, 2 over here. And with each stitch I make with this piece, I'm thinking about the back stitches as well. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. So just one stitch of this beautiful purple here, and I'm going to end it. I think there's nothing below. Fine. That's it. 553. And just pop it back. Oh my goodness, 100 degrees in a weekend. Is it, well, clearly not Celsius. How, it's Fahrenheit, so 100 degree, I don't know the conversion. I presume that's hot. 37, my goodness. Oh my God, that's hot. That's scorching. I think over here, the last time we reached even somewhere close to 30. Maybe last year we had maybe a day or two that's over 30, and people were kind of just begging for mercy. I think when it's cold here, everybody's hoping for a sunny day. But if it's here, like, over 30, then people start to complain as well. So never happy with the weather. But it really depends on whether it's humid as well. Humidity plays a part of the heat. If it's humid, man, it makes it about 10 times worse. I remember going to Italy and France, and also Spain as well, in the summer, and it was challenging, let's say. And I understand why they rest at lunchtime, because it was so hot. All the restaurants and shops closed for a couple of hours at noon. I totally understand. 50% humidity, man, that's gotta be difficult. You probably need a shower every half an hour. Yeah, because the heat here, there are maybe few days a year, if at all, we'll have a really humid, hot days. But luckily, we don't really get that, high humidity days that much. Normally, it's quite dry, so even when the temperature is slightly higher, it feels okay. It's dry heat, and it's a bit more bearable, I think. But if it's humid as well, then yeah, good luck. Oh, do we have air conditioning? Uh, Depends on where you're talking about. Normal households, no. Particularly older houses like my sort of Victorian style, it's not common to have air conditioning. We have windows, that helps. But no, it's very uncommon. So most people have fans, electric fans. That's the best we can do. But if you go to commercial buildings like shops and department stores, yes, there's air conditioning, and workplaces as well. Anywhere that's commercial, then there's air conditioning. Well, I think they have central air conditioning in general, even in winter, for heating. 327. But residential houses, unless it's really new building, then maybe they have air conditioning, sort of taller buildings. Then you have that fitted in, but generally no. So, you know. She know you get up at 5 a.m. to do what, darling? 5 a.m. Why would you get up so early? I mean, have a lie in, seriously. No, that's really nice to get up nice and early. There are days when I kind of sleep in and maybe over 10 o'clock or something. It doesn't happen that frequently, but when I do, I always feel like I've wasted half of the morning. So it's nice to get up early in the morning. It's a good practice, I think. Right, so you normally get up at 5 a.m. So 7 is like, oh my God, I overslept 2 hours. That's pretty hardcore. Oh, let me see. No, I got this right. Let me double check this color. 3853. Okay. Five zero zero. Hmm. 500. Trying to fix my chart. Let me see. Okay. And 500. Thank you, Shino. Really lovely for you to pop in. Nice and early. Have a great day. Have a lovely day. 3853. Five three. Love the orange. It's just lovely to have on her stream. There are quite a few floss tubers all come together, supporting each other. That was just so nice. I mean, internet is quite big, but I think the stitching world is not as big as you think, which is nice. So you bump into people maybe you've been watching for a long time. Three A53. More from these ones over here. Shanna says, Floss tube has been great for me. I have medical issues. I'm home all day. I get lonely. Oh, Shanna, I'm here for you. You know, absolutely. And it's a great hobby to take on, you know, with stitching, because it calms your mind and you get to connect with others. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here. And as much as the floss tubers keeping you company, you're keeping them company as well by showing up and having a chat with me, for instance. It makes me very happy. So you're definitely not alone. Just one stitch here. Let me check. And I'm going to end this one. And it's really nice, and more floss tubers, they do live streams. You know, I think watching playback is great, but, you know, being able to be there and stitch together, it's an exchange of energy, isn't it? Real time. It's really quite nice. 720. And we can only do this now because of the technology, isn't it? I mean, otherwise the option is to make videos, which is great. I enjoy them. But it's like today I popped into Shino's live stream and it's just wonderful. Oops. Just notice I've got 3 strands of the same color flowing everywhere. I think I'm going to end this one so I don't have too many duplicates. should be sufficient. Four, 9, 8. I'm doing quite well with the number of stitches, surprisingly. And depends on the area as well. So if it's confetti, obviously it will drastically slow it down a little bit. But this area seems to be kind of quite balanced. It's got enough color changes to keep me interested, but not too much. And I'm going to maybe park it over here. Have a sip of my drink, my coffee. And some water as well. Whoops. And I'm going to take it over here and stitch those ones underneath. Right, park it here. It's going to be short here. There you go. I'm going to end this one. It's getting a bit frayed, this thread here. To end it before I start to disintegrate. See if we can manage a few stitches with this tiny piece here. 1, 2, 3, 2, maybe one more. And here. It's such an elegant way of stitching. I mean, Gemma should get some sort of award. Some sort of award for inventing this way of stitching. And one over here. And I'm going to take it down here for one stitch. One more. I'm going to end it here. And two down, 1, 2, 3. zoom out a little bit here. That looks so lovely. And swap over here. Maybe chocolate time. I had some supper, early supper before the stream, but I think my energetic stitching has burned a few calories. I'm going to have one of my favorite chocolates here. If you can find it, I think this is a British chocolate, British brand. But if you can find it where you are, oh, get it. It's so beautiful. It's 74% cacao, so it's dark chocolate. Let me take a piece. I need to be very careful so the chocolate doesn't get on top of my fabric. Oh, look at this. So gorgeous. Hits the spot. Sugar. Have a look. See where I can take this thread. Move it down here. Right. This one's getting quite short as well. Laura says, when I was a young nurse, chocolate and coffee got me through many shifts. Now retired, it is enjoyed while stitching. Yes, chocolate and stitching, and just need to make sure the chocolate doesn't get on the fabric. Same with coffee, otherwise they're match made in heaven. Yes, if you think about it, and dark chocolate in particular is power food because it's packed with nutrient, and the caffeine from the cacao also gets you going. So it's a perfect snack if you're trying to charge through a shift or anything like that. It's a great choice. I normally have, between teaching classes, if I'm hungry, I have some peanuts or some sort of nuts or chocolate, because it's nice and compact and packed with energy as well. I'm going to end this thread. I think it's got 1 stitch, 2 stitches to go, but it's running very short. And when you're stitching, when you're kind of focusing on trying to do something, you don't want to stop and to make some food, you know, you kind of disrupt the flow. You just want something to give you some energy, and it's delicious. And I'm talking about that, I'm gonna take another piece here. It's got a nice little M letter there. It's beautiful. And you know it's good chocolate when it melts. It kind of melts in your mouth and your hands as well instantly. Because most chocolate in the UK anyway, I can't speak for other countries. If you get so-called quote-unquote chocolate, it's just full of sugar and fat and whatever else. You really need that high percentage of cacao to really taste the chocolate. You know, the milk chocolate just does not do it. I'm vegan anyway, but milk chocolate is kind of not real chocolate, I think. Let me see over here. Cacao's got all sorts of antioxidant, a lot of goodness in it. One, two, and one below. It's 1 stitch with this color in this area. And end it here. One, 5, 2. Gonna pop it back. And chocolate and coffee. Oh, they go so well together. I'm actually sweating a little bit. That's how warm today is in London. I think maybe a little bit higher than yesterday. Yesterday was about 25. I think today, oh my God, that's why. I haven't checked today. It says 29. Not right now. Right now it says where I am, 21 Celsius. No idea in Fahrenheit, but it's hot. 21 at around, let me see, nearly 12 midnight in London is pretty hot. That's why I'm sweating, and partially because of my vigorous stitching, obviously. And 1, 2, 3, 2 up. I'll probably keep going for another half an hour. Let's see if I can. I'm coming close to 300, but I'm not aiming for that today. That's maybe a bit ambitious, but I'll see how far I can go. I'm very happy with today's progress. I'm moving down a little bit. So I'm not sleepy at all. Probably because I'm drinking coffee as well. Funny that. Very naughty. Right, I'm going to park it over here. And let me see what's happening here. and part down here. So 2 stitches here. It's getting a little bit short as well. Let me see. And 1 below. And I'm going to take pockets slightly further down here. Right here. It's looking good. So that one probably snip off. Probably popped in the wrong spot. So I have no idea what it is. Just 1 stitch here. I think I'm going to end this thread, even though it's still got a little bit of length, but I can feel the thread is kind of weakening a little bit when you start to feel a little bit frayed. a few more stitches here. Let me see. 1, 2, okay. Actually, I'm going to do this one first. And I'm going to park it down here. Still got a little bit of length left. And then I'm going to keep stitching below as well. Quite a few stitches down here. 2. And skip one. You feel like you're cheating when you're got a whole bunch of stitches of the same color. Oops. Actually, and finish this thread. 2 more stitches. The last one's here. And the last one of this session. Lovely. And I'm going to end it just about here. Perfect. Right. Let's have a look. Zoom out a little bit. The progress today. Let me just remove this one. So, in the beginning of today's session, I started to work on smoothing the lines. So you can see the little wooden box is taking shape here. You can see a little purpley ribbon looking thing over here. That's so lovely. And let me zoom out a little bit more here for you. My little cat is up there waiting for me to do the back stitches. And I'm really happy about today's progress. Let me show you the number of stitches I've done for this session. So I think I've just gone over slightly over 3 hours, and I managed, let me see, 226 stitches, which is not too bad at all in this stitching method. So I set my daily goal to 300, but I'm not particularly aiming to hit it every time. I rarely do, actually. Occasionally I do, and I am really thrilled, but I'm totally happy with today's progress. And overall completion 8.67. Let me just quickly check on my progress for this particular page. It gives you the stats as well, which is quite nice. So I'm around 26. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm on 26.9, nearly 27. So still a little bit to go, but you know, nice and easy with each stitch, and it's really beautiful. All the stitches are really nice and flat here. So I'll keep going. The page is taking shape, and once I finish the page on the right here as well, then I'll do a back stitching party. I can't wait. It would take a little bit time because I've got so many projects ongoing, but it's all part of the fun to be able to switch back and forth whenever I want. And I have no idea what I'll be stitching tomorrow, but hopefully I'll be back to stitch with you, and I'll be talking to my webs to see which one speaking to me. So thank you for joining me today, whether you're watching or coming for a chat. I really appreciate your participation, and hopefully it's fun for you to watch. And so it depends on where you are. It's good morning, good afternoon, and definitely good night from London here. So nighty night, everyone. I'll catch you on the next stream. Bye bye.